Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. And I know that we have people be coming in and out. Thank you, and welcome to the State of a College Address for this academic year. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate all the time that you've been giving to the students and the community as we enter into this fall semester. I am very gratified by the energy that you all have been putting into being on campus and online and balancing our sort of, I don't want to say post-COVID reality, because we never know quite where we are in the journey, but thank you so much for everything that you've been doing. We've had a really busy week around here, and it is evident that we are very dedicated to carrying out the goals of our strategic plan and having a great academic year. So thank you for being here. I do have a formal presentation this morning, and I know that you all understand that each year we do this with certain outcomes in mind. We want to be sure that we are recognizing that enrollment is key to student success, explain how things are moving along in the college, and know where you can look for the information. So the goal of my presentation is to make sure that we give you a state of how things are going and give you a sense of where we would like to move along as we start our fall semester. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about extending the One York plan and our strategic plan. I'm getting some help here. You can move to the next one. Thank you. So as you all know, we have pillars of our strategic plan. And there is a rationale. We are intending to extend our plan because the One York plan was originally crafted in a 3-year plan ending in 2023. Well, can you believe that that's about to be right upon us? So we're making some adjustments because we did have a little thing called a pandemic. And we are going to look at an abbreviated time frame that could accommodate all of the different changes that have been needed to launch the plan. And we are asking for your support as we continue to focus on student success, academic excellence, faculty and staff support, and a vibrant campus community. Thank you. Let's talk about our first goal, student success. As you all know, there's a lot of conversation about our enrollment trends. You can move ahead. There has been a steady decline in enrollment since fall of 2018. The total enrollment is down 26% over the past 4 years and 8% over the past year. Much of that last year is due to COVID, but the reality is that we as a campus need to continue to focus on the strategy that we're going to use for enrollment management. The enrollment decline in nearly all community colleges is evident. At the university level, the total enrollment is down 19% over the past 4 years and 8% over the past year. At CUNY senior college level, the total enrollment is down 8% over the past 4 years and 6% over the past year. Having said that, when I arrived at York College, there were many conversations that made it evident to me that much of our campus is unaware of the nuances of how we look at enrollment. We need to understand the difference in headcount and FTE. We need to understand that we need to have a strategy and that enrollment is a campus task. Next slide. At York, the new student enrollment is down almost 38% in 4 years, but 10% in the past year. There's also a new student enrollment decline both in CUNY and senior college university levels. There are many studies being done now around why that is happening, and we continue to push to do 2 things: make sure that our full-time freshmen are onboarded properly and that we are looking at retention. One of the places that we really have to pay attention is continuing students. We need our students to enroll, come, stay, and graduate. Retention is real, and we have to talk about the things, the levers that keep that from happening. Next slide. Please take a moment and look at this slide. There is an increase in the proportion of first-time students who earn 30 credits or more than the first year at York, which is encouraging. That is a retention practice. While still behind the university average, we are gaining ground. And I want to thank all of the faculty and all of the staff that have made this a priority in the work that we have been doing in the last 3 or 4 years. Next slide. Trends in academic momentum. Another encouraging sign is that the uptick of percentage of York students who pass Gateway Math in the first year is a fantastic indication of a dedication to a point in people's experience that is very important. We need to keep up this great progress. Thank you to the provost and his team and many others for the work in academic momentum. Next slide. The percentage of passing Gateway English has been declining over the past few years. This is in the area that could use some additional research and effort. And we will definitely do that. We'll take a moment before we go. Thank you. Next slide. Trends in one semester retention rates. First semester retention is down 15.2 percentage points since 2013, while the university average is down 6.9 percentage points. Many of the initiatives described in our One York plan are to address this decline. It is very important that people pay attention to where the students stop out and or drop out, and that is what we're looking at now. Next slide. While the one-year retention rate has declined by almost 17 percentage points since 2013, as compared to the decline of the senior college level, the decline from 2019 to 2020 was consistent with the average, which is encouraging given the pandemic. And again, the first goal of the One York plan is dedicated to student success. So we hope to see an increase next year. Hold on, just make sure people have a minute. Thank you. Next slide. Trends in our four-year graduation rate. While still below the university average, we are seeing improvements in our four-year graduation rate, which is very encouraging. And I'm very excited that you all have been all a part of all the work to get us to this point. Next slide. Trends in our six-year graduation rate. Again, while behind the university average, we are seeing a slight progress in our six-year graduation rates. For more detailed data on retention rates by cohort, please contact OIESP Factbook. And I'm going to say that because Dr. Lori wouldn't like it if I mess that up. OIESP Factbook, where all of the information is housed. Next slide. Trends for three-year graduation rates, transfers. Transfers graduated from CUNY Associate Degree Program and within 3 years enrolled in CUNY Baccalaureate Program. Graduation rates are the percentage of students who earned a baccalaureate degree at any CUNY college of transfer within 3 years of entry. We saw an improvement with cohorts entering between 2014 and 2017, but then a drop in the 2018 cohort. Next slide. Transfers in three-year graduation rates. Transfer graduation rate from CUNY Associate Degree Program within 3 years enrolled in a CUNY Baccalaureate Program. Graduation rates are the percentage of students who earn baccalaureate degree at CUNY College of transfer within 3 years of entry. There was a nice increase in the 2018 cohort. Next slide. So amongst other things, many things have been happening and we have had to pivot and adapt and focus on student success from a variety of spaces, places, and podiums. We had our first in-person commencement since my presidency this spring. We held it at UBS Arena. There were 827 students in attendance, 75 York faculty members participated, 89 York staff and students volunteered, and we had approximately 4,000 guests. Thank you so much for celebrating. I believe that we had a good time. Next slide. New initiatives introduced between 2021 and 2022 to support student success. The York College spent 80% of the CARES Act money on mental health support services for the students. We piloted the York College Welcome Center, which has since expanded and was put together to help the students in their student-facing services. Thank you for all that worked on that wonderful project. We introduced the Accelerate, Complete, Engage ACE program with 82 students in the spring of 2022. We now have 220 enrolled this semester. Created the First Year Experience Office. Thank you. Redesigned the freshman orientation and produced the Student Resources Guide that I hope that you all have seen online. And if you have not, please direct the students to look at the resource guide. It is and can be very helpful. Next slide. New initiatives for 2022-2023. Launched the York College Mentor Collective to support students with resources and tools that will empower both the mentor and mentee persistence. 550 students and 132 mentors are engaged in the program as of this fall. expanded the offerings for the York College Family and Child Center to include after-school services that provide student and parents with older children an opportunity to have their child safe while they're attending classes. The Junior Cardinals program. Next slide. I will now move to strategic goal 2, academic excellence. While there are all kinds of wonderful things going on with our academic programs, which we will be notating in many other places along the year, I want to recognize that the productivity of our faculty has been phenomenal, particularly in the midst of the pandemic. We will have a separate celebration and acknowledgement of that productivity sometime this fall and or next spring. 3 programs received reaccreditation, and I will slow down here to make it very clear that reaccreditation is a very, very important piece of any accredited program. And it is a task for a department to be engaged in such work. I want to acknowledge our nursing program first. Thank you to our nursing chair, who I see here, for not only being one of the top ranked nursing programs in our area, but participating at the same time as coming out of COVID with our student nurses being at the lifeblood of that work and also participating in reaccreditation. Congratulations. As a proud social worker, I'm not biased, but I will say, extremely proud of the reaccreditation of our Bachelor's of Social Work program, and want to thank everyone that worked on that project. I know how hard it can be to do that. Congratulations to you all also. Last but not least, our Movement Science program. Thank you for your dedication to being a program that's small and mighty at times and powerful in many ways. We appreciate you. Congratulations. Before I go on, let me please recognize Dean Maureen Becker and Dean George White, who are here. Dean Becker, the reaccreditation programs are mostly yours. Thank you and congratulations. And let me thank the provost for being the wind beneath their wings, because you do not get this done without the work of an Officer of Academic Affairs. Thank you, provost. General Education Assessment Committee completed 1 complete round of assessment. Now, for many, that would mean absolutely nothing. But for those of us who have lived in the world of general education, that means a lot. And again, I want to say that these people come together and do this wonderful committee work in the midst of trying to maintain all of their work that they're doing all the time. So congratulations on that. We would like to recognize 2 new majors and 5 new minors that were approved in 2021, 2022. Those are new offerings for our students, and I know that they will be very happy. The master's program in clinical trials management was selected for phase 1 of CUNY online initiative. Congratulations. We will now move to strategic goal 3, faculty and staff support. So in spring of 2022, OIESP launched the Key Performance Indicator KPI survey for full-time faculty and staff. The survey will be administered annually each spring and is very important to our accreditation process. Please remember that we must participate in assessment. Results are detailed in the OIESP research brief number 14. I know that you all have all our research briefs on your bedstand and you read them on a regular basis. And if you don't, I want you to start soon, okay? CUNY will administer the coach survey to all full-time faculty in the spring of 2023. Next slide. Roughly half of York's full-time faculty are women, similar to CUNY average. Next slide. York has a larger proportion of racially, ethnically diverse minorities that is in the CUNY average. New full-time faculty. We have 8 new faculty lines that were added during 2022, 2023. 15 new faculty lines are being recruited for 2023, 2024. In the past 5 years, York College has hired 69 full-time faculty. 64% of them are women, and 62% of them are members of racial and ethnic minority group. We continue to monitor these metrics and know that diverse representation among our faculty is important at the college and to our students. Next slide. Research grants. Oh, gotta go back, sorry. There you go. In FY 2021, 12 research grants were funded at York for over $2 million. As I mentioned, we will be celebrating in a more detailed way the productivity of our faculty during this academic year. We have some people who've done some amazing work, and we will make sure that we recognize them more formally at another time. Next slide. Strategic goal 4, vibrant community and campus spirit. Well, if the fatigue in my body and the feeling that I felt after this week is any indication, we are achieving this goal. Because if you all haven't noticed this week, we have been busy. Your college's 55th anniversary was recognized with events and opportunities to honor the remarkable history of the college in the spring. 7 capital projects and ribbon cutting where we have special guests. 3 members of the York community took leadership roles in CUNY's 3rd annual Career Compass for the Women Leadership Conference. Thank you so much for doing that. In April, we celebrated our progress with assessment. 3 faculty, 1 from each school, presented an annual spring symposium and our spring carnival, deep engagement and lots of fun. This is the work that we are trying to do in this particular goal. I am so proud of the efforts that went into the events from last year. I want to stop here and make a very, very public acknowledgement of our public safety team. Our chief is here, and Lieutenant Suarez. I want to say the indication of being deeply engaged and hardworking is for people to forget that you're new. And Chief, I've forgotten that you're new to us. I think that engagement is also about safety. I hope that people have felt more informed, that people feel that the team, Lieutenant Suarez, I cannot thank you enough for, as they say, holding it down in the gap. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything that you all are doing. Next slide. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. York held its first Lavender graduation. As you see here, we have been focused on developing a real commitment to honoring the work that York is already doing. We are a college of rich history in this work, and our only goal is to illuminate that narrative and make sure that we keep it going. We're working to streamline the support and development of continuation of cultural events on campus. What that means is that we will be sure that we are celebrating all of our cultures and all of the identities and making sure that we support those kinds of celebrations. Reviewing the campus climate and other related surveys will be accessible and needs the York College to enhance current programming. The Office of Diversity and Compliance will continue to make sure that we are working together. And I want to thank our interim CDO for jumping in and doing all the wonderful work that she is doing. Thank you. Well, many of you all have heard me say that I wanted us to have very strong commitment to being stewards of place. To that vein, we have been very busy making sure that we are committed to involving the local community in being here and present and us being partners. As you can see, this list is representative of those events and interactions that we have had with our community. I am so grateful to all of you for inviting our community on campus and being present and celebrating all these accomplishments. And I hear nothing but wonderful things from our wonderful partners in government relations and other spaces. Let me please acknowledge Dr. Earl Simons for all his work in external affairs and government relations. I tell people the joke that when I arrived here in fall 19, if I had not had Dr. Earl to help to take me to all kinds of events in the only 6 months that I did not know I was going to have out and about, I don't think I would have known anybody. But thank goodness for the hard work of the team and the hard work of him. Thank you, Earl. Fundraising. In 5 years, the fundraising from the gala increased by 333%. The day of giving has increased 400%. We are in a fantastic place to continue this wonderful work. We have a wonderful new Vice President, Catherine Cousins, who is our Vice President of Advancement. We have a wonderful new foundation board chair in Anarua, and we had a wonderful foundation meeting last night where our board members are psyched and focused on raising money for York College. So ahead of time, let me tell you all, it is time to be okay with asking, dreaming, and aspiring to raise the money that we need to for the college. Thank you, Catherine, for your hard work, and thank you all for everything ahead of time for that. Next slide. Voluntary support is up 82% over the past 4 years. Let me say that this is one of those, as you can see, we have had the impact of COVID and other things to touch it. But I know that we will continue to work to move that number and do the best we can in that area. Next slide. Stay in the know. So, as you all are aware, when I arrived at York College, you were already in the process of developing the strategic plan that you are living in right now. And with that in mind, we have had to have the infrastructure constantly, small but mighty, in our OIESP area, dedicated to making sure that we have the things in place that show the quantifiable outcomes of the work that we're doing. The fact book is at your disposal. The fall enrollment snapshots, the data dashboards, the research briefs, and the data snapshot also. So what I say all this to say, the data is there, the information is there, and it is yours to see and to utilize as you do the work. Our 2021-2022 performance management process, we're in report to the chancellor, is something that I have to do every year, and I will be meeting with the chancellor as I do every year to talk about the progress of the college. Our 2021-2022 annual institutional effectiveness report and the others that are noted here are all part of making sure that we know what is going on. The Office of Institutional Effectiveness and Strategic Planning maintains an intranet with a goal of getting the data into the hands of the end users. That is you. Last year, they introduced 5 data dashboards and 2 more are to be planned for this year. This year, they are introducing data snapshots, assessment spotlights, which highlight assessment activities and academic programs. If you cannot find what you were looking for, I know that Dr. Lori Hefner and her team welcome your questions, your concerns, and your insights regarding what we're doing. We pride ourselves on being a data-driven institution, an outcome-driven institution, and a high-impact college. Thank you for your time. This concludes my presentation. Are there questions? We will have to speak in the microphone for the people that are online, I believe. If anybody has a question, and please don't be shy. Yes, sir. You make Marlon earn his steps. There you go.
Hi, I was just wondering, are there any plans to open a physical bookstore for students, have longer hours at the gym? And can you give us an update about the cafeteria situation, essentially? Are there going to be more food trucks and more options for students?
All right, so I'll take one of them at a time and I'll help people remind me, and I'll have other people speak if necessary. So the first one was the bookstore. The bookstore closing predates my arrival at York, and currently we do not have any plans because there is a full cadre to meet the needs of the students' book needs online. There are very few bookstores left in CUNY or in many places. So that is not a plan that we have in mind right now. Number 2 is the gym. The participation in athletic events and the gym will be extending as we get the guidance from CUNY as we move through the COVID process, right? So at each touch point, we do a little bit more, okay? I will ask that somebody on my team get information. You have information? Okay. Poor Marlon, he's coming in.
So I do know, good afternoon, Dana Tromboli, Chief of Staff. An email or some materials started going out yesterday for the York College Fall Recreation Schedule. Open gym times are back. The fitness center and the weight rooms are back. The multi-purpose room will be open, and opening soon is the open swim. So there are hours of operation, I believe 12 to 2, Monday through Friday. There's posters going up around campus with a QR code, so you can see what the hours are and what the services are.
Thank you. And last but not least, our favorite topic is food. Okay. So we could talk about this for a long time, but I'm going to give you the context, and then if VP Charles would like to say more, I will ask him to do so. First and foremost, when I arrived at York in 2019, the university was in the process of a large RFP aspiration that we would have a vendor for all community schools. That is quite a process that went on quite a while before it was determined that they would not complete that process. At that time, we were not here, and so we did not have to do anything at that time. We weren't even allowed to be on campus. The next thing was we started to open up, and we decided to open the cafe as a mitigating sort of next step, because we still have very few people at that time on campus. We have been talking to people about food trucks. We did replace the microwaves downstairs. There are new microwaves. The students have been asking for those. We are definitely in the process of making sure that we have more food on campus and that the current cafe is open as much as possible. Currently, they close at 6. I did inform several people that the 6 has to be a 6. It can't be 5:45. So we're working on that. And we probably will have to look at some other possibilities for finals. I think right now we are in this state with the food trucks and the pizza oven and the cafe as a mitigating stance for this fall for sure. And then our hope is to continue conversations, so we will have more in the spring. Let me say, our cafeteria, current cafeteria space downstairs, that was not open when I arrived here in fall of 19, is in need of millions of dollars of renovation before anyone would be able to come and be a cafeteria vendor, right? And when you go into a negotiation to get a new cafeteria vendor, they would have to be interested in that investment or some of it, or we would have to find the money. And currently we have some other things that we're trying to make sure that we consider before we go down that road. Did I answer that enough, or you want somebody else to talk more about food? Good, all right. Questions? I've been doing this over 30 years. I always talk about food and parking. I'm just saying, no matter what job I have, I always talk about food and parking.
Thank you. My name is Satrahan, Senator in Student Government. You spoke about the microwaves. Kind of a clarifying questions. Are those microwaves currently down there? Are they going to be replaced?
Oh, well, they're brand new. They're not, I think they're brand new. They're, huh?
Yeah, and they're dirty also.
Go on. You have to talk here. We're there.
So the original timeline was that they were to be delivered, I believe, like September 19th or something. They were ordered prior to the start of the semester. There was a supply chain issue that was delayed. And we did not find that until we followed up with the vendor when like the 21st came and they hadn't shown up. We followed up and they said they were delayed. They were supposed to be delivered this week, but I, again, haven't been here for the last week and a half. But they were supposed to be delivered literally earlier this week. So we'll follow up, but they've been on order for 2 months. They'll be here.
My apologies, I misspoke. I thought they were there. Ebony, do you have a question or comment? Okay, good, you're helping. Okay, thank you. Ebony.
I just want to point out that in addition to everything that was just said, we are also helping with our Hungry for Knowledge food pantry. We have a grab and go pantry, as well as a fully stocked now food pantry that's available for the entire York College community. And we have fresh produce every other Thursday. So we are supplementing as well as we can to help the students with any type of food insecurities.
Thank you so much. That people remember that we have the Cardinal app, we have our social media for the college, we have the website. When you need something to be sent out and reminded, please make sure that we find a way for that to happen. Good morning, Linda. We're coming.
First of all, I want to thank you and Buildings and Grounds for incredibly improving the state of the bathrooms, especially in the English department. It's been a tremendous improvement. There's soap, there's toilet paper, there's paper towels, So we're very appreciative of that because it was so bad that we were bringing in our own supplies. The question I have for you in terms of academics is you had some numbers about hiring faculty. I have my own concerns about the state of the faculty in terms of tenure track PhD level faculty and lecturers. It seems like there's been a predominant number, and I know this is a CUNY-wide thing, but I'm very concerned about it here at York, that we seem to be hiring more lecturers than tenure track PhDs. In my department, there's a very large number, and the amount of lecturers that we're hiring is not the same as the amount of tenure track PhD faculty that we have. And there's a very big difference between people who are on lecturer lines and people who are newly minted PhDs, although they are equally valuable, but they do different things. So I wonder what the college's vision of that issue is and the commitment.
So I will give a contextual comment and then ask the provost to follow up. You can, Marlon, you can give the provost. So what I will first say is that I believe that the deans and the provost and the department chairs have had arduous conversation about this very point. They are very invested also. And the numbers that I showed earlier are the most accurate numbers of the hiring plan. But I will offer that it is a constant conversation to make sure that we're paying attention to that. So do you want to speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I want to say is I want to point out that the lecturer lines, many of those actually do have PhDs. So if your concern is of the academic level of the people who are being hired, I just want to clarify again that many of the lecturers contain PhDs like the tenure track faculty. Right, they're not obligated, but I just wanted to clarify that if we're talking about academic level attained, it's the same. In terms of what we're looking for going forward, again, it's this balance of making sure that we are able to supply our students with full-time faculty who are going to be able to teach them and to focus on the pedagogy of teaching, as well as providing them with the full-time tenure track faculty that they can do research. So it's this balance. This, of course, is going to depend from department to department on what those department needs are. But when we actually go ahead and request from the department chairs what lines they want, that is part of that discussion. So these decisions are being made with consultation with the chairs to make sure that the hires that they get do fit within the needs of their department.
And I would be negligent if I did not acknowledge Kachi and the work of the facilities program, that the fact that Dr. Grasso has mentioned to me that she does not have to bring those things from home. You're in a better place. Thank you for that. Question, comments, suggestions? Yes.
President, what is the plan with the continuing adult and continuing education, which was, I think, undergoing?
So for context, let me share with them. The question was, what about adult and continuing education? The adult and continuing education was put on sunset prior to my arrival, and we are in the process currently for searching for a new director so we can reopen it. But let me say that we do have some programs. Maybe I asked the provost, do you mind speaking to anybody? Do you mind speaking to it, or should I ask Maureen? Maureen, okay. Maureen, do you mind, Maureen, talking about, we do have some programs currently going on that will be underneath that umbrella once we reinvigorate adult and continuing education.
So this year, we received from CUNY a grant of $262,000, which is right now being implemented. So it's going to run from the end of August to the end of August 2023. With that, we have 5 offerings. And they're available not only to students, but to people in the general public. So actually anyone living in New York State could take advantage of this. Those monies go to make these classes, these offerings are free to everybody. So 3 of them are in business. So there's introduction to business administration, introduction to cybersecurity, and introduction to health informatics. So with those, you'll get a certificate of completion if you have good attendance and you do all the work. If you don't have good attendance and you don't do all the work, you will get a certificate of participation. So you're still something. The 2 health offerings that we have, one is basic concepts of health professions, and the other one is health informatics. Both of those were redesigned from the current courses that we have, so that with those, if you attend and do the assignments, you will actually get 2 credits for the basic concepts class, so 2 free credits. And the other health informatics is you get 3 free college credits. So if you're a student, you can maybe use that as an elective, or if you're in any of the health science majors, again, you would be able to use that. So that's saving you money. And also it's helping you to move a little bit faster. So all of these courses are being offered. So if you know anybody, they're starting like this Saturday, but a lot of the other ones are starting next week. You know, the application, all you got to do is go on the website, click on it. It's very easy. But we're offering them in this fall. We're going to repeat everything again in the spring, and we're going to repeat everything again in the summer. So there's plenty of opportunities, and especially we have had some inquiries where some people want to take more than one offering. So if we're allowed, if we have enough enrollment, if we have enough seats, we're letting people take 2. But if we don't have enough seats, we want to make sure that we're fair to everybody, and then we spread it out that way. The other offering that we had was this summer, and we partnered with Resorts World Casino, and we did an introduction to gaming. So we didn't teach people how to gamble. What this was behind the scenes and looked at the casino from a business point. So people learned the workings of how a casino works. So there were 6 sessions. We had a class that was in person, so it was here on campus, and the other one was online, and I think we repeated them twice. But the last class was actually at the casino, where we were given a tour of everything they learned. In the first 5 classes, they got to walk to all those different areas and speak with actual people that run those things. So it was really well received. A lot of people, obviously, from the community came, but the other real plus was that people were told if they would like to sign up for employment at the casino, that there were opportunities. And I would say about 2/3 of the people who attended were looking at this as a possible career option. And a few of the people were there already worked at the casino and were looking at this as a way to move up, to get a promotion or to move to something else. So really, like, considering workforce, I think we really made, a big dent in that. And it was so successful that we're going to be talking with resorts, either repeating these things or else trying to come up with, intro to gaming 202 or something like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Becker. Thank you, Dean Becker. Questions, comment? There's one in the back.
Hi, President Eanes. I just want to ask for an update on the stadium as well, please.
Thank you for the question. We're in the process of clarifying what's going on with the stadium. There was a stop, obviously, on all the plans when we hit COVID. And then there has been some slowdown as it relates to the plans. So I'm not able to give you a full update on it today. I apologize.
We have a question online from Heather Robinson. Thank you for pointing us to the research briefs. As part of the strategic plan implementation process, I looked at the faculty staff KPI survey, and I'm aware of the retention and persistence KPI data. My question is, what are the next steps? What is the process of addressing the deficits that the data reveal?
And Heather, if you're there, I want to be sure, can I ask you just the deficits in faculty retention that are shown there? Am I correct? No, student retention. Does she say? Can she? I want to be sure I'm hearing the question correct.
She pointed out the faculty staff KPI survey.
All right. Come. The mic, she won't be able to hear you.
I think what Professor Robinson is asking is, based on the results of the survey, what are the actions that the college is going to take to try to rectify some of that data?
The retention data.
The retention
Okay, very
data,
good. All right.
yes, and then other issues that resulted from that survey.
Perfect. So I actually think that some of the actions that we highlighted today are the beginning of that work. And a lot of the future student success agenda will be focused squarely around that. As you all know, much of the retention work is around what we said, the continuing student stuff that's in the classroom, right? But we also had quite a few, I would call them aesthetic and customer service challenges that we are trying to address. Now, aesthetic speaks to what our dear professor spoke of, the facilities and the cleanliness and the wayfinding and being comfortable and there being engagement and good things to do and that kind of stuff. And then, of course, there is the student-facing, student service work, stop the runaround. We have done a lot of work with those who serve our students to make sure that students know where advisement is, how to get things done. The financial aid is not a headache, so that's another touch point. The third thing speaks directly to what our professor is asking about, and I think that that's faculty support and a commitment to making sure that they have what they need so they can better help with the retention efforts. But that also speaks to their faculty experience. Is their research being supported? Is their teaching being supported? Are all of the facilities that they need in the right place? Do they get the support from the Office of Academic Affairs and the deans? Are they fully informed and involved? So my response would be threefold. There is a multifaceted way to approach true retention work. And I think that it has all to do with doing the things that we put in the plan and the things that have been rolled out, right? We just have to stay with it and see whether or not it moves the mark, right? In the places that it moves the mark. People must feel as if in each stakeholder group of our campus that they are being able to be impactful and be in a healthy work environment to get what they need to get done. Good? All right.
We have another question from Heather. The faculty have identified support for research as a real problem. What can we do here?
I'm going to ask the provost to help me speak to that. First and foremost, I will say that we probably don't have the infrastructure as much that we need because there's never enough, but I'll let him speak to that. There's never enough.
So yes, support for research. So one thing, like the president mentioned, is that it's understaffed. So we have gotten permission to hire a research associate. So that person is going to be a front-facing person to help with pre-proposal work, helping to get the proposal together, helping with the budget, helping to submit the budget. That's going to happen this year. Further plans are to again hire another couple of research associates to start doing more things along the lines of post-grant support, filing of your reports, modifications of the budget, things you have to deal with after you actually get the grant. The third thing that we're going to be doing is we are now going to start offering more grant development. So this last year, we had a workshop for PSC CUNY that was run by Dean White and Don Hewitt. We're planning on repeating that and expanding it to opening up to everyone as opposed to just the first year faculty. In addition, we have plans on doing other grant writing workshops, having people come in from NSF and other funding agencies to discuss with our faculty what they're looking for and to give them highlights. So we're trying to support our faculty not only in creating and submitting the grants, but also in learning more about the grant process and more about what the grant agencies.
Thank you, Provost. And let me say that if there were things the Provost mentioned that you'd like to follow up with him on or the deans, please ask, and I will be asking them to publicize those efforts very widely in a variety of places. Any other questions? Yes.
We have a question online from James Riley. Okay. Thanks, President Eanes. Are there any interest in utilizing the Opportunity Zones program to support any of York's initiatives?
Okay, you have to hit me with that one more time.
Okay. Sure. Are there any interest in utilizing the Opportunity Zones programs to support any of York's initiatives?
I'm going to have to ask Dr. Simons about the Opportunity Zones. So I want to be, if you have a micro.
Thank you for the question. Thank you, President. So we have been exploring utilizing opportunity zone funding, working with the York College Small Business Development Center, as well as in collaboration with the Greater Jamaica Development Corporation, York College, our proximity being in, we looked at the census tracts and we are eligible, the New York, but based on New York State Senate districts, Southeast Queens does have a large percentage of areas and zip codes that are eligible. And so we are exploring on the federal level opportunities for collaboration and utilizing partnerships for opportunity zones. So we have not ruled it out. There is an interest. So from the questioner, if you have some recommendations or suggestions, please reach out and we can collaborate on it if you have some additional information regarding opportunity zones. But we are working to identify any partnerships for opportunity zones. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Any more? Okay, seeing no more questions online and seeing none in the room, I would love, oh, there we go.
So I know we were at the JFK thing yesterday and I was speaking to some of the small business.
The executive breakfast.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and I was speaking to a former SGA president and she was in charge. I think her name was I forgot. Exactly.
Yes.
And she was saying how you know, she's running $1 million or $1 billion project. And I was wondering, like, are York students being encouraged to apply to those programs that JFK has? And what advertisement is basically done on the campus to ensure that students are aware of those developments and, you know, projects that York are affiliated with in some way?
So thank you for the question. Thank you all of those who have attended the executive breakfast yesterday. It was fantastic. And for the support of our small business leaders. I serve as the co-chair for the JFK Educational Committee. And what I will say is a lot of that work of that group was sort of hiatus and frozen during COVID and they're starting back up. And part of what you heard yesterday was this commitment from all of those people in that room to be part of a conversation to make sure our students get connected to those future jobs. So the next piece is for them to start to develop what their needs are. And then for us to then tell them, because right now they don't, those opportunities are not out there yet, but they will be, and we will be right at the forefront of that. They said more than one time, and not just the JFK people, other people, there will be tons of jobs in this community connected to that project that will be open. So we will definitely develop a pipeline for that to be happening. And it will include technology, communication, right? And the infrastructure to support making sure that it happens. But it's still a little bit of a baby in that way, okay? Dr. Right behind you.
And just quickly, we made it coming out of yesterday's meeting was a special commitment from Rachel Antoine, speaking with Dean James Salvin to make sure that there's going to be a special meeting here at York with your college students to focus specifically on opportunities
At JFK. Thank you. Dee Becker. She's up there.
I do want to say that we already are involved in lots of ways with JFK. So in our business and economics department, we have the aviation major, which we have 3. We have a bachelor's in aviation management, a master's in aviation management, and also a certificate in dispatcher, airline dispatcher. So students from those programs currently do internships, some paid, some unpaid at JFK. And many of them, once they graduate, have gone on and gotten jobs there. So through the business department and the aviation department, I know that the word is spread and there's opportunities, but I know that this is even, you know, flourish more as the project moves forward.
And I'd like to just add that next Tuesday, we're having our annual career fair, and there are 2 representatives from JFK that will be attending
I'm not sure if this is connected to the project that you're speaking of, but I do know that one of them are connected to aviation program that received some funding from JFK.
And Ms. Chesney, can I ask that you talk to our student leader and make sure the student government is aware of the career fair and that they are spreading the news about it so that you'll have more attendance?
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, last one, I think.
Hi, I also want to ask about the game room. While it's closed, is there any plans or are there any plans for another social space for students? And what are the plans for the game room?
So VP Williams and VP Bozian are working on an engagement space. Currently, I will not say for sure it would be in that same space because we do have some moving around that we need to do, but we will have an increased engagement space somewhere that we'll be able to tell you about sometime soon. All right, well, I would like to invite everybody to get a box lunch in the faculty dining room and mingle if you would like to. We will be there for a little while, and thank you for your attendance. And thank you again for all of your hard work and your commitment to York. Have a wonderful day.